So I didn't take it on that. All right, yeah. So I want to kind of ask you guys, like, what did you think? Like I was saying earlier about how I was thinking about that. Like, mom and dad are married 38 years, and of course, like, you never go into marriage like thinking that you're gonna be that you're gonna divorce. That, you know what I mean? Like, everything is happy. Of course, like, certain things happen over the course of time that kind of, it makes it so that it becomes a little bit more difficult. We kind of find out like the ups and downs, and how it's, you really got to work for your happily ever after. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just wanted to know from you guys, and I'll give my opinion too, but I want to know from you guys, what, like, do you think that that's possible? Not giving the political answer, because 1, 2, 3 are married. We're saying, what is it like? Do you think that? Of course, you think that it's possible, but how do you? What are you've been married enough years to say, what the differences are, things that that you may be able to deal with, things that you could not. I personally, I don't see what that means. Go ahead, Chris. What's up?
No, it's definitely possible, but I think the question is, what are your expectations? See what I'm saying? Because I was telling, matter of fact, I was talking to Dad the other day, I was like, I said, Dad, I'm really happy. I said, it's so crazy. I said, I tell Nisi all the time, man, I'm glad I got married when I did. Cause see, social media, like, it was on the come up, but it wasn't quite there yet. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I'm like, I look now, I'm like, I couldn't date nobody now. I can't date nobody now. Like, there's just so much crap, like, so much fantasizing, like, people just on islands, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's on fantasy island. And I think, excuse me, I think that people's your perspective has to change. You have to be, I think, we have to be, if you're, people this day and age who are not married that want to get married, they have to have realistic expectations, and like, and accepting the fact that, all right, I mean, listen, we're coming together to serve the whole, like, we're a unit now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not, cause I listen to, people, this day and age, like, you know what I'm saying? Even on the shows I watch, right? But what do you want? What do you want, your partner? Oh, I want it all. You can't have it all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Define what all is. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's what I mean. Like, it's like, so I think that the expectations have to change, and then, like, the ups and the downs, that's a real thing. And I think, far too many people split up because they can't handle the downs. Now, of course, here again, that all goes into who you pick as a mate. And I think that, you have to take that into consideration, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what this person's strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Do they have, like, oh man, yeah, and it's not so much, hey, he wears a black suit with brown shoes, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, realistic, right? But honestly, like, for some people, like, that's a deal, like, that's a realistic deal breaker for some people. And that's what I mean, like, when I say perspective has to change, like, because everything's so superficial, but like, and it seems like, it really does seem like the political answer to be like, yeah, well, it's on the inside that counts. But it's like, it is, but here's why it's on the inside that counts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you somebody that, like, you know what I'm saying, that really, that is, like, consistent? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you on a normal day? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, ask yourself that. It's so funny. So I told her, so me and Nisi were dating, right? And this is when we were doing our long distance thing. I would always tell her, I'm like, it sounds weird, but like, I was like, can you send me a picture of you like not dolled up? Like, I just want to see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see the floor. Like, take a picture with it works. Yeah. All you got crust on the side of your mouth, you was drooling? Give me a picture of that. Like, I want to see. You know what I'm saying? So that I'm
insane though.
No, but see, but that's me, like, because I'm like, yo, I want to know, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be caught off guard, because like, and then that's like, yo, when you start living together too, it's like you think you know a person, but when you are with them every day, like you could be dating for years, but when you marry them and move in with them, now you really see you see how they squeeze the toothpaste. You see how they get out the bathroom. You see, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you see that they leave chip papers on the dresser and junk like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they put chicken bones in the sink. Like, you see different stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? But here again, like, so, like, you see that, like, and like, and that's it's funny, like, you know what I'm saying? That does happen sometimes. I just laugh about it. But that's the thing, like, that's how I deal, like, that's trivial stuff. But, like, you know what I'm saying? But, like, but I have my course too. Like, they're gonna have their course, but it's like, yo, what are those, but see, differentiating between what's minor and what's major is, I think, that's another thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like, so all the stuff I mentioned, listen, they leave toothpaste in the sink. Man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you really hate that much? Like, you know what I'm saying? But what redeemable qualities do they might have? Like, you know what I'm saying?
You saying that, and you know what I mean? Like, fun fact also, I want to get back to what you were saying. Fun fact though, Chris definitely showed up in gray sweatpants in the wintertime. He's married. I don't know if that's something that y'all, but apparently, she allows it, so, it's fine. But
At least he has pockets, though.
I got pockets. They not liver pockets. But yeah, I want to get, before we come back to that, Ryan, like, because I know, and the reason I'm asking this is because there comes a point in time in every relationship where you're, I think that there comes a point in every relationship where you're like, yo, I don't know if I can do this no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just saying, like, what, like going like from year one to, to further down the road, you got like 10 years under your belt, 20 years under your belt, 30 years under your belt, in how you get there. So like how about you, man? Like, what do you think about being able to have that longevity?
Man, again, I'm never going to give you a political answer. I'm just going to be honest, but it's like what Chris said, like, there's courts, right? There's different things that you deal with and stuff like that. And sometimes those courts become deal breakers because of just your own mental maturity, right? And I talked to you about this before. So from year one till maybe like year 3, I'm like, bro, this ain't it. Right? Like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not going to continuously keep dealing with courts, right? But a lot of that wasn't even, it's never, not never. It's not always your spouse, right? Sometimes it's you, and it's your own mental makeup, and it's your stuff that you gotta figure out. But when you're younger, and this is why I say that some people shouldn't get married super young, right? Because mentally you're not mature enough to do it. Because you still have to figure it out yourself. Like, if you go from living with mom to living with wife, it ends up being different, right? You're used to something functioning a certain way. You've never really been on your own, so you're trying to handle that along with handling a spouse. So those first couple of years is different. Like I said, like you were saying, you could date somebody for years. Like, I dated my wife for 7 years before I got married, right? Because I was young. So that's something I did before I got married. So then you're married, and it's like, man, this is not the same, bro. Like, I can't hang up the phone and walk away now. Like, I'm here. Like, that's it. I can't go nowhere. Like, if I leave, I guess what was an issue for me is accountability, right? I was used to being able to say, all right, well, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna go do something, right? And not needing to call. Like, I was used to going to my cousins, and even if I'm not out doing anything like that, I could just be sitting there watching the game, but 1 o'clock roll around, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just cooling. And you're calling me, and you're like, hey, where are you? I'm like, out? I can't do that anymore. So that was like a learning thing for me. And so I say, like, in order for marriages to have any kind of longevity, you gotta be able to be checked on things and just take it and understand, like, yo, I got my fault, right? So for years 1 through, what am I, in 7 now? Edit that out. I'm in 7 now, right? I didn't guess, I knew that.
Take 2.
Right. that to me, it was a rough patch. And I say that if you can really deal with the rough patch, and then you start to see the difference in yourself and your spouse, it makes the rest of that kind of smooth. So I think 30, 38, 38, that's a long time, bro. Like 38, like 30, you can do it. Like you can do it. I firmly believe you can though, but I think that it takes two people willing to work at it. And by work at it, I don't mean saying, oh yeah, I should change it. No, I mean actually doing it. Some things you should it's self-realization. Like,
Yes.
I don't even need you to tell me that. I grew up, so now I know I was wild now. Let me fix that about me. And if you get two people that are willing to do that, then again, you get back to the sport. That really doesn't bother you. You kind of start to laugh at it. Like, your brush is next to my razor again. That's crazy. But you kind of laugh it off and just move it to the side because, what once like small trivial things would become that huge thing, it doesn't do that anymore because your mental makeup's changed, right? 28-year-old me is not 33-year-old me. 28-year-old me is mad about everything. Like I'm mad because I'm dealing with all real world bills, and you, and kids, and work. And now it's like I've gotten older, I've balanced that, I get how that works now. So now my frustration isn't where it was before. I can kind of like ease into being husband guy, and then balancing that with still being me. I think that's the other thing too, is if you're in a marriage and you can balance being a husband but still being you, it helps when you get back home. Because there's plenty of times where, and I say it to her, she says it to me, like you can't be with me all the time. And that's cool, right? Because we're married, so I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna be here. But I need this moment to go do this, and you need that moment to go do that. Because if not, you kind of lose yourself in what you got going on. And there's no real way you'll last if that's all you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, but everybody's different. That's why I never tell anybody, hey, this is what you should do, because I can only tell you what worked for me.
Yeah.
So that may get me to 38, but who knows? I edit that out too, man. But,
Yeah, man. What about you, Terrell, man? I know your situation is different. I'll let you speak on that, but you know what I'm saying? We're in a very different type of situation, you know what I'm saying? Because now, we're guys in our 40s, and so if we're looking for that, it has to be, there may not be a 30, there may not be a 40. You know what I'm saying? But you want it to last as long as it can, if it's going to be that. So
sure. Do I think it can happen? Yes. For me, being newly single, to speak on what my marriage was like, for me, communication was super important. Right? Because like you were saying, people grow and develop, right? The 20-year-old me wasn't the 30-year-old me. But having open, clear dialogue and communication, we were able to grow together, but express to one another who we were in this moment, right? So that was super important to me. And also taking the time to really, like you were saying, get to know somebody up front, right? If there's gonna be a deal breaker, understand that it's a red flag, make them aware that it's a red flag, and let them see how they handle that, right? If I'm telling you that something's a problem and you're willing to address it, I can work with that because nobody's perfect. You're gonna tell me some stuff about me that's gonna make me have to evaluate my own stuff, and you can see how I deal with those sort of things, right? But if I bring up an issue and that behavior doesn't change it, I got a problem with that, right? But I have to be open and aware enough myself where if something is brought up to me that I have to be willing to change, because I can't expect something from someone else that I can't expect from myself. So I believe that it's possible, but being newly single in the current dating market, I don't know if it's possible. It's like an injury report. Possible, probable.
why do you think that, of course, because Chris touched on it a little bit when he was talking about how social media has changed things and how he's glad he got married before all that really popped off. And I definitely understand the reason why there wasn't I don't want to say there wasn't dating apps, maybe there was dating sites. I don't know how long eHarmony has been around.
It wasn't a thing. They didn't call it sliding into somebody's DMs. It was just oh, you inbox me? Okay.
But you know what's crazy though, not to cut you off, is when early dating apps, if you were a teenager or early 20s or something like that, and you were using that, you were kind of looked at like a lame. So there's no way a 22-year-old's like, yeah man, I'm on blackpeoplemeet.com. I'm trying to get up.
You know what's though? Black lane. That was pre-MySpace. That was the first social
think I was gonna say that it was really more so for like older people kind of, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of missed the bus or, you know, it was kind of like on their second or third, fourth go around. So like, you know, so it was, I mean, so how do you think like today, like what are some, and I definitely can speak to that as well, but what are like some of the difficulties you would say in trying to find somebody who you would want to be with, like, you know, forever?
I think that comes with time and like evaluating someone person to person, but with social media, everyone presents the best version of themselves. You know what I mean? And everybody's on a job interview. So you're getting, you know, a suit and tie, everybody's prim and proper. But I want to see what you look like when you drool in the morning. You know what I mean? Authenticity is really important to me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I've seen like these makeup things where a person looks completely different, can change the contour of their face. It looks amazing, but you still got to go home and wash that stuff off. So, you know what I mean? That part of it's crazy. But I think everybody is looking for the next best thing. And with social media, you have access to people that you would have never had access to before. I can see what somebody's looking like in Dubai, and I'm like, okay, well, that's what I want to aspire to. But I'm real far from Dubai. Don't have any plans to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that's the hard part.
Yeah, I definitely, I can agree. I think you know, like the tough part about social media is that because you do have, you know, or people do have that access to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so it's like you go from super highs to, you know, to extreme lows as well. You get the like, yo, I didn't even know that you was ever feeling me, to the, you know what I'm saying, like to, I know that I'm not that ugly that you think that you can just approach me.
That's one thing it does though, is that it gives you constant validation. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like so when you're constantly getting hit up in your inbox, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that constant validation, now you get like an unrealistic version of how you view yourself. And so like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, listen, beauty's subjective. I have to look like Precious, but if you know what I'm saying? If I'm getting constantly hit up, you know what I'm saying? Then yeah, it would be like, well, you would think you could approach me. But like, you know, for real, like, you know, but that creates that unrealistic, that, you know, it's unrealistic. So it's like now regular is looked at like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I don't want to, you know, men and women, I don't want to settle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that's regular. It's just like I said, how are you on a normal day?
You know, before I know Mark.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other thing that social media, the flip side to it is sometimes it gives you perspective too.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that I started to look at. It was like, yo, like you'll see the highs, and you're like, oh my goodness, like that looks great. But you'll also see, because people have this terrible habit of airing out all of their life on social media, you start to gain perspective to the point where you're like, my life ain't even that bad.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? So sometimes, of course, you know, there's pluses and minuses to everything, but, you know, sometimes you can be scrolling and 1 minute you'll see somebody and they'll look like, you know, that snapshot of their life looks incredible, right? And then you'll see this portion of somebody else's life and it kind of puts you right in that middle and you're like, okay, I'm cool where I'm at. Like, I'm good, I know what I'm saying? I don't need this, but I'm glad I don't have that. So I'm cool here. So I mean, I don't mind it too much sometimes.
What do you like? So I know you've been married like the longest here out of us since I'm off the running. So, but you know, so like you got the longest running. So like, and again, like I know that you don't, you know, like you guys don't have any plans to quit or anything. But I'm saying, like, just looking at the, you know, 38, like I said, it's like it just seems like an arduous road. It's got, you know what I mean? Like even like guys that win a championship, like it's still 82 games. You know what I'm saying? Plus the playoffs.
Yeah.
So what, you know what I mean? Like like, you know what I mean? Like, so how do you look at it like on an everyday basis?
So I feel like it's definitely attainable. However, you know, I'll say that it's easily just as unattainable because a lot of times you get caught up in on the things that you want to do in the future. You know, everybody has this dream of, you know, having this nice house